this last application exercise that we didn't get to in class is sort of a fun one. Well, my definition of fun is different than yours, I gather. I know. Anyway, let's go ahead and have at it. Suppose that Beautiful Cars had sufficient information and so much bargaining power that it could charge each consumer separately the maximum that they would be willing to pay. This is called first-degree price discrimination or perfect price discrimination. That can happen when the consumers can't resell the good easily to other consumers, and automobiles are just too complicated to be able to ascertain quality, so the dealer has a unique advantage there. Anyway, and the other condition is that the seller can, as the customer walks in the door, they have a foolproof way of telling how much would be the maximum that consumer would pay. All right, so here we are. How would deadweight loss in this perfect price discrimination case with the compare with the deadweight loss in the single price outcome? I missed a word, sorry. All right, well, let's have at this one. We have deadweight would be larger, deadweight loss would be the same, deadweight loss would be smaller but greater than 0, deadweight loss would be 0. Well, let's just analyze this. And I'm going to use my green pen. Well, if the seller could tell exactly what each buyer would be willing to pay, that first buyer would pay their maximum willingness to pay. The pen isn't working for me. There we go. The first buyer would pay exactly what they're willing to pay, and it would cost the seller the marginal cost to produce it. So the surplus to the seller would be that whole vertical distance. Well, the second customer would pay their maximum willingness to pay, and so on. How many units would the seller sell? Well, as long as the payment is greater than the marginal cost, what it costs to sell one more car, the dealer makes more money by selling one more car. Where would they stop? Right here at Q naught. Turns out the perfect price discriminator actually would produce the efficient level of outcome, and surplus would be at its maximum, but surplus all accrues to the seller. So this producer surplus is this entire green area. So in terms of how much deadweight loss there's no deadweight loss. D is the right answer. And of course, there's no consumer surplus either. So the fairness of this outcome is questionable. Although a lot of people that wouldn't get cars in the single price case get cars for lower prices. So this the ability to offer people discounts without having to pass on those discounts to other buyers in the market mean relatively poorer people sometimes get a good that they wouldn't have gotten otherwise. So price discrimination is not illegal and probably should not be illegal. It increases the well-being sometimes of both the buyers and the sellers, at least in aggregate.